Have you ever felt a pull towards a place you have never been? It's kind of like a whisper on the wind, a longing deep within your soul. For me, that place was South Africa. It was a name that echoed with stories of adventure and history. It was a land I saw only in pictures and films, but somehow it felt strangely familiar. This feeling just grew stronger with each passing day, until it became a call I could no longer ignore. The thought of South Africa filled my imagination with such vivid colors. The sounds of the continent played like a symphony in my mind. This was more than just a destination on a map. It was a world brimming with life, a sensory feast just waiting to be experienced. It was the promise of diversity, a place where so many different worlds collide and coexist. I longed to witness the quiet majesty of its wildlife, roaming free in their natural homes. It was a journey into a world of endless possibilities. And so the decision was made. I would embark on this endless journey. This was to be a journey of connection, of understanding, and of personal growth. The adventure was about to begin. Every great journey begins with a dream. My dream of South Africa was a tapestry woven with hope and excitement. I imagined standing on Table Mountain, driving the garden route, and the thrill of a safari. These images fueled my desire to go. But dreams are only one part of the story. The reality of planning is a different adventure. There were visas to arrange and bags to pack. The contrast between my expectations and the preparations was stark, requiring careful organization. As the departure date drew nearer, a touch of apprehension mingled with the excitement. I was ready to see my tapestry of dreams meet the vibrant reality of South Africa. South Africa is often called the Rainbow Nation, a name given to it to describe the country's incredible diversity. After the end of apartheid, it became a symbol of hope. This idea was a powerful magnet for me. The history of this land is both painful and inspiring. Learning about figures like Nelson Mandela filled me with awe. I wanted to visit places like Robben Island, to try and comprehend the sacrifice that was made for freedom. The diversity of the Rainbow Nation is truly breathtaking. The country is a mosaic of traditions. This cultural richness is the true treasure of South Africa, a testament to the strength and beauty of its people. This journey, for me, was a quest to see the colors of this rainbow up close. The airplane descended, and I caught my first glimpse of the African continent. The land below was a patchwork of rich red earth and vibrant green fields. As the wheels touched down at OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, a wave of emotion washed over me. I was finally here. The air felt different, warm, and exciting. Walking through the airport was a sensory overload. The energy was palpable. I collected my backpack, my home for the foreseeable future. With my passport stamped, I walked out into the bright South African sunshine. For a moment, I just stood there, taking it all in. This was real. My endless journey had officially begun. I found a local taxi, and as we drove, the driver shared stories about his city. The skyline of Johannesburg rose in the distance. This first human connection was a perfect start. I leaned back, ready for whatever came next. An external journey sparks an internal one. As I arrived in South Africa, I could already feel a shift happening inside me. In their place was a vast expanse of the unknown, a blank page waiting to be written. This feeling was both liberating and a little unsettling. This journey was about seeing the world, and myself, through new eyes. You are simply a traveler, a guest in a foreign land. I found myself talking to strangers with an ease I rarely felt back home. The journey was already beginning to teach me about myself. I learned to embrace the feeling of being a beginner, of not knowing everything. The other path would lead me deep into my own heart and mind. The greatest adventure was not just around me, but within me, waiting to unfold. My journey began in Johannesburg, or Joburg, a city with a powerful spirit. Known as the City of Gold, it holds dreams and ambitions. Walking its streets, you feel the energy. Johannesburg is a city of stark contrasts, modern buildings alongside historic architecture. Exploring the central business district was a whirlwind. The city demands your attention, pulling you into its fast-paced flow. Johannesburg is constantly reinventing itself, a place of resilience and creativity. It challenged my preconceptions and invited me to find the gold in the spirit of its people. A visit to Johannesburg is incomplete without a journey to Soweto, an acronym for Southwestern Townships. This place was at the epicenter of the struggle against apartheid, a symbol of resistance. We visited Vilakazi Street, home to two Nobel Peace Prize winners, Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Standing outside Mandela's former home, now a museum, was a profoundly humbling experience. The tour continued to the Hector Peterson Museum and Memorial, commemorating the 1976 student uprising. Yet Soweto is not just a place of sad memories. It is a vibrant, thriving community full of life, energy, and hope. Soweto taught me about resilience, that even in the face of immense hardship, the human spirit can flourish. From the historic heart of Soweto, my journey took me to the modern, creative pulse of Johannesburg, the Maboneng precinct. The name Maboneng is a Sotho word meaning place of light, and honestly, it is a fitting description for this vibrant neighborhood. Once a collection of derelict industrial warehouses, Maboneng has been transformed into a thriving hub of art, culture, and urban living. As I stepped onto its streets, I felt an immediate shift in energy. The air buzzed with creativity and youthful optimism. The walls of the buildings were canvases for incredible street art, telling new stories of a modern, integrated Johannesburg. This was the face of the city's regeneration. I spent a full day wandering through Maboneng streets, and, each corner revealed something new and exciting. There were independent art galleries showcasing the work of talented local artists. There were quirky boutiques selling designer clothing and unique handmade jewelry. I found a small cinema that showed independent African films and a rooftop bar with stunning views of the city skyline. The entire area felt like a living, breathing art installation. It was a place where creativity was not just encouraged, it was the very foundation of the community. It was a powerful example of how art can breathe new life into forgotten spaces. The people I met in Maboneng were as inspiring as the place itself. I spoke with painters, fashion designers, musicians, and entrepreneurs. They were all drawn to this neighborhood by its collaborative and supportive spirit. There was a palpable sense of community here, a feeling that everyone was working together to create something special. They shared a common dream of building a positive, inclusive, and creative future for their city. Their passion was infectious. I felt energized by their stories and their dedication to their craft. Maboneng was more than just a cool neighborhood. It was a movement, a beacon of what is possible. One of my favorite experiences was the Market on Main, a weekly food and design market that takes over a large courtyard. The market was a feast for the senses. The smell of Ethiopian coffee, sizzling boerewors sausages, and spicy curries filled the air. Stalls were piled high with beautiful crafts, vintage clothing, and local produce. Live music created a festive atmosphere, and people from all walks of life mingled, ate, and laughed together. This was the Rainbow Nation in action, a joyful celebration of diversity and creativity. Maboneng showed me a hopeful, forward-looking side of Johannesburg, a true place of light in the heart of the city. To truly understand Johannesburg, you must taste its food, a delicious reflection of its diverse cultural makeup. My culinary exploration was an adventure, a journey through the city's history and its people. I tried everything from street food to restaurant dishes. I sampled bunny chow, a popular South African street food, bread filled with spicy curry. I experienced a traditional braai more than a barbecue. It is a social institution. In Yeoville, I found restaurants serving dishes from across the African continent. Johannesburg's food is a vibrant tapestry of tastes, a delicious testament to the city's diversity. After soaking in the intense golden energy of Johannesburg, it was time for a change of scenery. My journey continued south, to a city with a completely different character. I boarded a plane for Cape Town, a place affectionately known as the Mother City. It is South Africa's oldest city, and it sits in a spectacular natural setting, nestled between the mountains and the sea. The anticipation I felt during the 2-hour flight was immense. I had seen countless pictures of Cape Town's famous landmarks, but I knew that no photograph could truly capture its beauty. I was ready to experience its legendary charm for myself. As the plane began its descent, I pressed my face against the window, eager for my first look. The view that greeted me took my breath away. The vast, turquoise expanse of the Atlantic Ocean stretched out to the horizon. The coastline was a dramatic series of rugged cliffs and pristine white beaches. And then, rising majestically from the earth, was the unmistakable flat-topped silhouette of Table Mountain. It stood like a giant guardian, watching over the city that lay at its feet. The sight was even more awe-inspiring than I had imagined. I could already feel the powerful presence of nature that defines this incredible place. Stepping out of Cape Town International Airport, the difference from Johannesburg was immediately apparent. The air was different. It was cool and fresh, carrying the clean, salty scent of the nearby ocean. There was a more laid-back, relaxed feeling to the city. The pace of life seemed slower, more gentle. While Johannesburg buzzed with an ambitious, urban energy, Cape Town seemed to hum with a more natural, serene rhythm. It felt like I had traveled to a different country altogether, which is a testament to the incredible diversity contained within South Africa. I felt a sense of calm wash over me as I took my first breath of Cape Town air. My first drive into the city was a visual feast. The highway curved along the edge of Table Bay, offering panoramic views of the ocean and Robben Island in the distance. The slopes of the mountains were dotted with vineyards and beautiful homes. The city itself appeared as a vibrant collection of buildings clustered around the base of the mountain. I felt an instant connection to this place. Its stunning natural beauty was overwhelming. Johannesburg had captivated my mind with its energy and complexity, but I had a feeling that Cape Town was about to capture my heart with its sheer, breathtaking beauty. You cannot be in Cape Town and not be aware of Table Mountain. It is an ever-present, magnificent backdrop, dominating the skyline. I felt its pull and knew I had to ascend to its summit. There are two ways to reach the top: a strenuous hike or a ride in the revolving cable car. The ride itself was an experience. The car rotated, providing a constantly changing panoramic view. Stepping out onto the summit was like stepping into another world. The beauty was overwhelming. Standing on the edge, I felt a deep sense of tranquility. The mountain's majestic embrace was a truly unforgettable experience. Nestled on the slopes of Signal Hill, just a short walk from the city center, is one of Cape Town's most distinctive and photogenic neighborhoods, Bo-Kaap. As I turned a corner and entered its streets, I felt like I had stepped into a rainbow. The houses are painted in a dazzling array of bright, vivid colors. There are shocking pinks, brilliant limes, sunny yellows, and deep turquoises. The cheerful colors stand out against the gray of the road and the blue of the sky. The cobblestone streets add to the historic charm of the area. Bo-Kaap is a feast for the eyes, a place that instantly makes you smile. But the colors of Bo-Kaap are not just for decoration. They tell a story of freedom and identity. The neighborhood is the historic center of Cape Town's Malay community, who are descendants of slaves brought from Malaysia, Indonesia, and other parts of Africa in the 16th and 17th centuries. Under apartheid, their homes had to be leased and were required to be painted white. When they were finally allowed to buy their properties, they painted them in bright colors as an expression of their freedom and individuality. The vibrant facades are a celebration of a culture that has survived and thrived against the odds. Walking through Bo-Kaap was a beautiful cultural immersion. The air was fragrant with the smell of spices wafting from open windows and a local spice shop. I could hear the call to prayer from one of the neighborhood's many mosques, a reminder of the area's strong Islamic heritage. I visited the Bo-Kaap Museum, which is housed in one of the oldest buildings in the area. It provided a fascinating insight into the history and traditions of the community. I learned about their unique language, music, and most famously, their delicious cuisine. The neighborhood felt like a living museum, proud and protective of its unique heritage. I decided to take a Cape Malay cooking class in the heart of the neighborhood. A local woman welcomed me into her colorful home and taught me the secrets of her family's recipes. We made spicy samosas, fragrant chicken curry, and flaky roti bread. As we cooked, she shared stories about her family and the history of Bo-Kaap. It was a wonderfully personal and authentic experience. Sharing the meal we had prepared together was a perfect end to my visit. Bo-Kaap was more than just a pretty place. It was a community that welcomed me with open arms and shared its powerful story of resilience, freedom, and vibrant cultural pride. As my first week in Cape Town drew to a close, I began to feel the city's unique rhythm, set by the ocean and the mountain. I explored Kirstenbosch National Botanical Garden. I drove along Chapman's Peak Drive. I visited the penguin colony at Boulders Beach. I explored the V&A waterfront. I also visited the old biscuit mill in the Woodstock neighborhood. Cape Town's heart beats with a blend of natural wonder and human creativity. My journey was just beginning, but these cities had already left a deep impression on me. The time had come to leave the vibrant energy of the cities behind. The call of the wild was now growing into a powerful roar, trading the comforts of city life for the promise of the untamed bush. The next phase of my endless journey was about to begin, leading me into the vast, open landscapes of the South African savanna. There was a palpable sense of leaving one world and entering another. It was a transition zone where the rules of man began to fade, and the ancient laws of nature started to take hold. As the sun began to dip towards the horizon, I arrived at the edge of my destination. I was on the doorstep of one of the world's greatest wildlife sanctuaries. The city lights were a distant memory. The stars of the African sky were now my guide. My destination, Kruger National Park, one of Africa's largest game reserves, a vast wilderness. For over a century, it has been a sanctuary for incredible wildlife. Entering Kruger feels like stepping back in time. A sign reminded me I was in the animals' territory. The landscape was breathtakingly beautiful and varied. My home was a simple thatched roof hut in a rest camp. These camps are fenced oases of safety. The true magic of Kruger lies in the game drives. Every trip is a unique adventure, a lottery of sightings that makes the experience so thrilling. This was the rhythm of life in Kruger. I didn't wait long for my first incredible encounter. On my first drive, I rounded a bend and saw it. A magnificent bull elephant stood in the path. It was enormous. I stopped the car and stared in awe. It was so close, so powerful. This was the Africa I had dreamed of. After a while, another elephant emerged from the bush, then another. Soon, I was surrounded by an entire breeding herd. To be accepted into their space was a deeply moving privilege. Eventually, the herd moved on. The encounter had changed me. The memory of that first elephant is etched into my mind forever. Searching for the great predators like lions, leopards, and cheetahs is a thrilling detective story. Every game drive became a mission. One afternoon, I spotted a pride of lions resting in the shade. The ultimate prize is a leopard sighting. On my final evening, my guide pointed to a leopard draped over a branch. It was the perfect finale to my search for predators. In the dry season, water is the source of all life in the savanna. The waterholes and rivers become crucial gathering places, drawing animals of all shapes and sizes from miles around. I discovered that one of the best ways to see wildlife was to simply find a good spot near a waterhole, turn off the engine, and wait. It was like sitting in a theater, watching a constantly changing play unfold before my eyes. The drama of the bush was on full display, a fascinating spectacle of survival, interaction, and coexistence. These oases of life provided some of my most memorable and peaceful moments in the wild. The scene at the waterhole was a perfect illustration of the delicate balance of the ecosystem. Herds of zebra with their dazzling black and white stripes would come down to drink, their ears constantly twitching, ever watchful for danger. They would often be joined by wildebeest, their constant companions on the plains. Graceful impala and stately kudu would approach cautiously, their large eyes scanning the perimeter for any sign of a predator. Each species seemed to have its own designated time to drink, a natural choreography that minimized conflict and allowed everyone a chance to quench their thirst. The interactions between the different animals were fascinating to observe. I watched as a large herd of elephants arrived, their sheer size demanding respect from all the other creatures. The smaller animals gave them a wide berth, waiting patiently for the giants to finish their long, satisfying drinks. I saw giraffes, their long necks bent down in an awkward, vulnerable position as they drank from the water's edge. They would take a quick sip and then immediately raise their heads to scan for danger. The air was filled with a symphony of sounds, the splashing of water, the snorting of zebras, and the gentle cooing of doves. The waterhole was a place of a delicate truce. Herbivores, who would normally be wary of each other, stood side by side, united by their common need for water. However, the tension was always present. Every animal was on high alert, knowing that predators were often drawn to these locations, hoping for an easy meal. One afternoon, a lone hyena appeared on the far bank, and a wave of panic rippled through the drinking herds. They scattered in an instant, their thirst forgotten in the face of danger. It was a stark reminder that even in this place of life, the ever-present drama of predator and prey was just a heartbeat away. When the sun sets on the African savanna, a completely different world awakens. The darkness is filled with a rich symphony of sounds. Back at camp, I would sit outside and just listen. The concert began with the insects. The most iconic sound is the roar of a lion. It is a sound that you feel as much as you hear. Another unforgettable sound was the whooping call of the spotted hyena. These sounds were the soundtrack to my safari adventure. They were a constant reminder that the bush never sleeps. To truly appreciate the bush, it helps to see it through the eyes of an expert. I decided to join a guided walking safari. Being on the ground allowed for a more intimate connection with the environment. The ranger taught me how to read the subtle signs of the bush, turning the landscape into a living storybook. Every track in the sand told a story. The ground was a daily newspaper of the bush. These small observations provided a much deeper understanding of the complex web of life in the savanna. The most important lesson the ranger taught me was one of respect. Being on foot in this wild place was a profound and humbling experience. The lessons I learned from that ranger changed the way I saw the wilderness forever. There is a special kind of magic reserved for the very early morning in the African bush. Getting into the vehicle in the pre-dawn chill, with a warm flask of coffee in hand, was a ritual I grew to love. This was the golden hour, a time of transition and beautiful soft light. Then the top edge of the sun would peek over the horizon, flooding the landscape with a brilliant golden light. The beauty of it was, honestly, pure and breathtaking. Watching the sun rise over this ancient land, I felt a profound sense of peace and gratitude. The journey was far from over, but the savannah had left an indelible mark on my soul. My time in the wild savannah had been a powerful experience. The raw energy of Kruger had touched me deeply. But South Africa is a country of many faces, and my endless journey was ready to reveal another one. I felt a pull towards the wildness of the ocean. The call of the coast was my new compass point. It was time to trade the dusty tracks for the winding coastal roads. A new chapter was about to begin. I traveled south, watching the landscape transform. I was heading towards the famous garden route. The name itself conjures images of incredible beauty. My anticipation grew with every kilometer. The shift in environment brought with it a shift in my own state of mind. A more gentle, contemplative mood settled over me. The coast invites a different kind of observation. I was ready for this change of pace. The journey was not just about changing location, it was about changing my perspective once more. My coastal journey would be a slow exploration of the small towns. I wanted to discover the unique character of each place. The journey was no longer about searching for the big five, but finding the hidden gems of the coastline. The call of the coast was strong, and I was happy to answer it. The garden route is an experience stretching from Mossel Bay to the Storms River. Driving along this famous route, the scenery constantly changes. On one side, the Indian Ocean. On the other, ancient forests and rolling green hills. The road winds through this spectacular landscape, offering breathtaking views. The garden route is home to diverse plant life. The ancient Tsitsikamma forests are home to giant yellowwood trees. I felt a sense of pure joy driving along this road of wonders. Nestled in the heart of the garden route is the town of Knysna, situated on a vast, tranquil lagoon. Protected from the open sea by the dramatic Knysna heads. The lagoon opening up before me was simply breathtaking. The town itself had a relaxed, artistic vibe. I spent a wonderful afternoon on a boat trip, cruising across the lagoon's calm waters. The guide pointed out the famous Knysna seahorse. Back on land, I explored the town's charming waterfront with colorful buildings. The town is famous for its delicious, fresh oysters. I couldn't resist trying some. I spent my evenings watching the sunset over the lagoon. It truly is the jewel of the garden route. Just beyond Knysna lies a deep, mysterious, and ancient forest. This is the Knysna Forest, a place of towering trees and dappled sunlight. This forest is famous because it is said to be home to the last remaining elephants of the garden route. They are known for being incredibly shy and elusive. Their numbers were decimated by hunting. Today, it is believed that only a handful still survives. The story of the Knysna elephants is a poignant tale of loss and survival. I didn't see an elephant, but that didn't matter. The search itself was the experience. I marveled at the giant yellowwood trees. It is a place of mystery and wonder. It serves as a powerful reminder of what has been lost and what we must strive to protect. Continuing my journey eastward along the garden route, I arrived in Plettenberg Bay. The locals simply call it Plet. This town is famous for its long, unspoiled beaches and its stunningly blue bay. From the viewpoint on the hill before descending into the town, the view was simply spectacular. The Rauberg Peninsula, a long finger of rock and fynbos, curled around to protect a vast expanse of golden sand and turquoise water. It was a picture-perfect scene, honestly like a postcard from paradise. Plet had a more energetic, sun-kissed feel than Knysna, a place dedicated to the joys of the sun, sand, and sea. My first priority was to feel the sand between my toes. I walked for hours along Rauberg Beach, a seemingly endless stretch of soft, white sand. The waves of the Indian Ocean rolled in gently, their rhythmic sound a soothing mantra. The water was cool and inviting. Families played in the shallows, surfers waited patiently for the perfect wave, and dolphins could often be seen leaping in the distance. It was a place of simple, uncomplicated happiness. I found a quiet spot, sat down on the warm sand, and just watched the world go by, feeling the sun on my skin and the gentle sea breeze in my hair. Plettenberg Bay is not just about the beach, it is a place where the blue of the ocean meets the green of the surrounding nature reserves. The most incredible example of this is the Rawberg Nature Reserve itself. I spent a full day hiking the trails on the peninsula. The path took me along the cliff edges, offering breathtaking views of the bay on one side and the wild open ocean on the other. Below me, a huge colony of Cape fur seals barked and played on the rocks. The air was filled with the sound of their calls and the crashing of the waves. It was a wild and exhilarating experience. This town is a true haven for nature lovers and adventure seekers. Besides hiking and swimming, you can go sea kayaking, whale watching in season, or explore the nearby forests and bird sanctuaries. Plet offers a perfect blend of relaxation and activity, all set against a backdrop of breathtaking natural beauty. It is a place that celebrates the outdoors, encouraging you to get out and explore the incredible environment. My time in Plettenberg Bay was a sun-drenched, joyful interlude, a perfect example of the coastal paradise that the garden route has to offer. It was hard to leave this place where blue and green meet in such perfect harmony. The final leg of my garden route journey took me to its easternmost edge, the Tsitsikamma National Park. The name Tsitsikamma comes from the local Khoisan language and means place of abundant water. It is a name that perfectly captures the essence of this incredible park. Here, the landscape becomes even more dramatic. The mountains seem to fall directly into the sea, creating a rugged, wild coastline of towering cliffs and deep forested ravines. The park protects this unique coastal ecosystem, a place where the ancient indigenous forest meets the powerful Indian Ocean. The energy here was raw, untamed, and utterly magnificent. The heart of the park is its forest. This is one of the last remaining primeval forests in South Africa. Walking beneath the canopy of giant Udanika yellowwood trees felt like stepping into another time. Some of these trees are nearly 1,000 years old, their trunks thick and covered in moss, their branches reaching high towards the sky. The forest floor was a lush carpet of ferns and flowers. The air was cool, damp, and filled with the sound of birdsong and the distant roar of the ocean. It was a deeply peaceful and spiritual place, a living testament to the power and resilience of nature. The park is also a place for adventure. It is famous for its thrilling activities, which allow you to experience the dramatic landscape in unique ways. One of the most popular is the canopy tour, which involves zip-lining through the treetops of the forest. I decided to be brave and give it a try. Soaring from one ancient tree to another, high above the forest floor, was an exhilarating experience. It gave me a bird's-eye view of the forest, a perspective I could never have gotten from the ground. It was a moment of pure adrenaline-fueled joy, a memory I will cherish forever. Another key feature of Tsitsikamma is its dark, tannin-stained rivers that carve their way through the forest and empty into the sea. I went on a kayaking and lilo adventure up one of these rivers. We paddled from the ocean mouth deep into a narrow, dramatic gorge. The cliffs rose vertically on either side of us, covered in ferns and trees. When the river became too narrow to paddle, we transferred to inflatable lilos and floated gently further upstream into the heart of the ravine. It was a magical, almost mystical experience, floating on the dark water, surrounded by such ancient and dramatic beauty. Tsitsikamma was a place of pure, watery wonder. My journey culminated at the iconic Storms River mouth. Here, the powerful Storms River meets the Indian Ocean. The most famous landmark is the Suspension Bridge. To get to it, you follow a beautiful wooden boardwalk through the coastal forest. Crossing the bridge is the main event. It was a thrilling and awe-inspiring experience. The garden route had been a journey of incredible beauty. Standing there at Storms River mouth, at the end of this magnificent road, I felt my soul refreshed. My journey had been a magnificent tour of South Africa's landscapes. These places had filled me with awe, but the heart of any nation is its people. My focus began to shift from where I was going to who I was meeting. This new chapter was about looking into the faces of the people who call this land home. I wanted to hear their stories, to understand their lives, and to learn from their experiences. The real story of the Rainbow Nation was lived every day in the homes and communities across the country. I felt a deep desire to connect on a human level. This felt like the most important part of my journey. It is much harder to be present and to engage directly with another person's world. The journey was becoming less about seeing and more about feeling and connecting. It was time to meet the actors. The next act of my endless journey would be defined by the people I met and the stories they shared. My quest led me to Walmer Township near Port Elizabeth, where I was invited to spend a day with a local family. Mama Nosifo, the family's matriarch, greeted me with a warm hug, instantly easing my nerves. She took me through her neighborhood, introducing me to neighbors. Despite economic challenges, the community spirit was strong. It was a place of resilience and joy, challenging negative stereotypes. This experience was a profound reminder of human kindness in unexpected places. The highlight of my day in the Walmer Township was sharing a meal with Mama Nosifo and her family. The kitchen was the heart of the home, a small but bustling space where she and her daughters prepared the food. They invited me to help, to peel vegetables, and to stir the large pot that simmered on the stove. The dish was a traditional Xhosa stew called umfokoko, made from maize meal and served with a simple vegetable relish. The air was filled with the delicious aroma of cooking food and the sound of happy chatter and laughter. Being part of this simple, everyday ritual felt like a huge privilege. As we sat down to eat, gathered on small stools around a low table, the real connection began. Food has a wonderful way of breaking down barriers and encouraging conversation. As we shared the meal from communal bowls, we began to share our stories. Mama Nosifo told me about her life. She spoke of growing up under apartheid, of the struggles and injustices her family had faced. She spoke of the joy and hope that came with the first democratic elections in 1994. Her stories were not filled with bitterness or anger, but with an incredible strength and a quiet dignity that was deeply moving. I listened, completely captivated, as she and her older children shared their memories and their dreams. They spoke of the challenges they still faced, of the search for jobs and the desire for a better education for their children. But they also spoke with immense hope for the future. They were proud of their country and optimistic about the progress that had been made. They believed in the promise of the Rainbow Nation, even with all its complexities. Listening to their personal accounts gave me a far deeper understanding of South Africa's journey than any history book could ever provide. It was history made real, told with honesty and heart. That simple meal in a small township home became one of the most meaningful experiences of my entire trip. It was a powerful exchange, not just of food, but of stories, perspectives, and humanity. I had come as a stranger, but I left feeling like a member of the family. I was humbled by their generosity, inspired by their resilience, and touched by their willingness to share their lives with me. The taste of the umfokoko will forever be linked in my memory with the taste of genuine human connection. It was a profound lesson in how sharing a meal can nourish not just the body, but also the soul. Throughout my journey, I sought out the older generation. In a country that has undergone radical transformation, the elders are the keepers of memory. They are living libraries, holding stories of a South Africa that no longer exists. Their perspectives are invaluable, having seen the worst of times and the dawn of a new era. I found they were often happy to share their stories, to pass on their knowledge to a younger generation. Their wisdom was simple yet incredibly profound, teaching the importance of remembering the past, but not being imprisoned by it. The wisdom of the elders was a precious gift. If the elders are the keepers of the past, then the children are the hope for the future. In every community I visited, I was drawn to the energy and spirit of the children. They are the first generation to be born and raised entirely in a democratic South Africa. They are the true born frees, the living embodiment of the Rainbow Nation dream. I wanted to see the country through their eyes, to understand their hopes, and to catch a glimpse of the future they are creating. Their world is so different from the one their parents and grandparents grew up in, and their perspective is a vital part of the country's ongoing story. I visited a small primary school in a rural area. The school building was very basic, with few resources. But what it lacked in facilities, it more than made up for in spirit. The classrooms were filled with the sound of enthusiastic children singing, chanting their multiplication tables, and eagerly answering their teachers' questions. During their break time, the playground exploded with energy. Children of different backgrounds played together without a second thought. They shared their games, their laughter, and their snacks. In their innocent interactions, I saw the ideal of the Rainbow Nation playing out in its purest form. I had the chance to talk to some of the older children about their dreams. Their aspirations were big and beautiful. A young girl named Lindiwe told me she wanted to be a doctor so she could help the people in her village. A boy named Thabo dreamed of becoming an engineer to build better roads and houses for his community. They were aware of the challenges their country faced, but they were not defined by them. They were full of optimism, ambition, and a belief that they could make a difference. Their energy was infectious, a powerful antidote to any cynicism about the country's future. Spending time with these children was one of the most hopeful experiences of my journey. They are growing up with a different set of possibilities than the generations before them. They are learning about their diverse cultures and histories as a shared heritage. They are the generation that can truly build a united and prosperous South Africa. Of course, they face many hurdles, but their spirit is strong and their potential is, honestly, limitless. Seeing their bright, shining faces and hearing their hopeful dreams, I felt a deep sense of optimism. The future of the Rainbow Nation is in their small but capable hands. In a country where for many years voices were silenced, art has become a powerful and essential form of expression. Throughout my journey, I discovered that creativity is woven into the very fabric of South African society. From the vibrant murals on city walls to the intricate beadwork of rural artisans, art is everywhere. It is a way of telling stories, of preserving culture, of protesting injustice, and of celebrating life. I learned that to understand the soul of the people, I had to look at their art. It was a language that communicated emotions and ideas that words sometimes could not express. In Cape Town, I explored the Woodstock neighborhood, an area that has become a vibrant hub for street art. I took a tour with a local artist who explained the meaning behind the massive, colorful murals that adorned the buildings. Some depicted scenes from the struggle against apartheid, honoring heroes and remembering martyrs. Others were more contemporary, tackling social issues like inequality, identity, and environmentalism. The art was bold, provocative, and honestly, beautiful. It had transformed the neighborhood into an open-air gallery, a space for public dialogue where everyone's voice could be seen and heard. It was a testament to the power of art to reclaim public spaces and spark conversation. I also sought out the traditional crafts that have been passed down through generations. In a Zulu village, I watched women create stunningly intricate beadwork. Each color and pattern has a specific meaning, forming a complex language that communicates messages about identity, marital status, and social standing. The craftswomen worked with incredible skill and patience, their hands moving with a practiced grace. Buying a piece of jewelry directly from the artist who made it felt incredibly special. It was more than just a souvenir, it was a piece of their culture, a story I could carry with me, and a direct way to support their livelihood. The creativity I witnessed was a powerful form of resilience. It was a way for people to assert their identity and to find beauty and meaning in the face of hardship. I met musicians, poets, painters, and sculptors, all using their talents to process the past and imagine a new future. Their work was not just decorative, it was essential. It was the pulse of the nation, a vibrant expression of its pain, its joy, its struggles, and its hopes. The art of South Africa gave me a deeper, more nuanced understanding of its people. It was a colorful, powerful, and deeply moving voice that spoke directly to my heart. I met people with a profound sense of resilience, an incredible ability to endure hardship and bounce back. This resilience seemed rooted in Ubuntu. Archbishop Desmond Tutu described it beautifully. My humanity is caught up, inextricably bound up in yours. We belong in a bundle of life. This idea that I am because we are was key to understanding the strength I saw everywhere. This ancient African wisdom was the most important souvenir I would take home. It resonated deep in my soul and changed the way I live my life. This act of my journey, focused on meeting the people of South Africa, had a profound impact on me. It was the most challenging part of my travels, but also the most rewarding. Every conversation, every shared meal, and every story I heard chipped away at my own preconceptions and opened my heart in new ways. The kindness I was shown by people who had every reason to be wary of strangers was deeply humbling. Their resilience in the face of unimaginable hardship gave me a new perspective on my own problems, making them seem small and insignificant by comparison. This journey of connecting with others inevitably became a journey inward. Listening to their stories forced me to examine my own. What did I value? What were my beliefs? How did I connect with my own community? The people I met held up a mirror to me, and in their faces, I saw not only their humanity, but also my own. I realized how much I had to learn about compassion, forgiveness, and the simple, profound joy of human connection. The personal growth I experienced during this time was immense, more than I could have ever anticipated when I first set out on this trip. I learned that travel is not just about seeing new things, it is about becoming a new person. The experiences I had, the people I met, were changing me from the inside out. I felt my sense of empathy expanding. I felt my understanding of the world deepening. I felt my heart growing bigger. This was the true purpose of my endless journey, the real destination I had been seeking all along. It was not a place on a map, but a state of being, a deeper connection to the world and to myself. The journey had turned inward, and it was there that I found the most precious treasures. As this chapter of my journey came to a close, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. I was grateful for every person who had opened their home and their heart to me. I was grateful for the lessons they had taught me about resilience, community, and the enduring power of the human spirit. I was leaving this part of my journey a different person than when I arrived, more thoughtful, more compassionate, and more connected to the great family of humanity. The road ahead still held unknown adventures, but I knew I would walk it with a new sense of purpose, carrying the stories and the spirit of the South African people with me. Every long journey has its share of challenges. My travels through South Africa had been remarkably smooth, from cities to the coast, but the road has a way of reminding you that you are not always in control. As I headed inland towards the Karoo, I was about to learn that the most memorable adventures are often unplanned. The first sign of trouble was a strange noise coming from the engine. I pulled over to the side of the long, empty road. I was completely alone with no cell phone signal. My plans had evaporated on a deserted road in the middle of nowhere. This was the unexpected adventure, and I had no choice but to face it. Standing beside my broken-down car, I felt vulnerable. The landscape felt intimidating. My water was limited, and I had to wait for help. I was forced to confront my limitations and put my faith in the unknown. I sat in the shade and tried to remain calm. Just as I was beginning to lose hope, I saw a cloud of dust in the distance. It was an old farm truck. The driver, an old farmer, offered me a ride. I had to place my complete trust in this kind stranger. It was a powerful lesson about trust and faith in the goodness of others. The farmer, Koos, didn't speak much English, but we communicated with gestures and smiles. He shared water and biltong with me, his kindness incredibly genuine. We arrived in a tiny town. Koos took me to Piet, the mechanic, who agreed to tow my car. They refused payment. Sarah, the hotel owner, invited me for dinner. I was safe, with a roof over my head, thanks to the kindness of strangers. That evening, I had dinner with Sarah's family. This unplanned stop became one of the most heartwarming experiences of my trip. It was a reminder that challenges can lead to unexpected blessings. After my car was fixed and I had said my heartfelt goodbyes to my new friends in the small Karoo town, I was back on the road. The experience had changed my perspective. I felt less attached to my plans and more open to the whims of the journey. My next destination was the Drakensberg Mountains, a majestic range whose name means Dragon Mountains in Afrikaans. I was booked into a hiker's cottage, ready for a few days of trekking in what is arguably South Africa's most spectacular mountain scenery. As I drove closer, the mountains rose up on the horizon, their jagged peaks touching the clouds. The sight was truly awe-inspiring. I arrived at my cottage in the late afternoon. The air was cool and crisp, a welcome change from the heat of the Karoo. The mountains towered over me, their green slopes and dramatic rock faces creating a breathtaking backdrop. The weather, however, looked uncertain. Dark, heavy clouds were gathering around the highest peaks, and a strong wind was beginning to blow. The weather in the Drakensberg is known for being unpredictable and can change in an instant. I decided to go for a short, easy walk before the weather turned, eager to stretch my legs and immerse myself in the incredible landscape. I was not far from my cottage when the storm hit. It came suddenly and with ferocious power. The sky turned a dark, angry gray. The wind howled through the valleys, and the temperature dropped dramatically. Then came the rain, not in gentle drops, but in a thick, driving sheet that soaked me to the skin in seconds. It was quickly followed by hail, small pellets of ice that stung my face and hands. The path became a muddy stream, and the visibility dropped to just a few meters. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. I was witnessing the raw, untamed power of the mountains firsthand. I scrambled back to my cottage, my heart pounding from the cold and the adrenaline. I was completely drenched and shivering, but I was safe. I lit a fire in the small fireplace, changed into dry clothes, and made a hot cup of tea. As I sat wrapped in a blanket, watching the storm rage outside my window, I felt a deep sense of respect for these mountains. They were not just a pretty picture. They were a powerful, living entity. This was another challenge, another unexpected adventure. The mountains were showing me their fierce side, reminding me once again of the power of nature and my own smallness in its presence. The storm battered the cottage all night, dashing my hiking plans and hiding the Drakensberg peaks in mist. Seeking refuge, I wandered into the lodge's lounge, where a crackling fire and fellow stranded travelers offered unexpected warmth. An elderly couple, veterans of these mountains, shared stories and hiking tips, their passion infectious. What began as disappointment became a day of laughter, shared stories, and new friendships. Strangers united by the storm. Sometimes the best views are not of the landscape but of the connections we make when we're forced to pause. The storm cleared, revealing the Drakensberg in breathtaking clarity, reward for patience. My hike that day was spectacular, but it was the recent challenges that truly enriched my journey. The detours, the breakdowns, the rain, they led to kindness, friendship, and growth. I learned to embrace imperfection, finding magic in the unpredictable and beauty in the messiness of travel. Adventure is not about perfection, but about resilience and the willingness to find wonder when things go wrong. My South African journey drew to a close, bittersweet and deeply satisfying. I arrived as a curious traveler, but left transformed, changed by the land, its people, and the lessons learned. The end felt less like a conclusion and more like a new beginning, the journey's spirit woven into who I am. The memories and connections will travel with me, inspiring and guiding me long after I return home. Every ending is a new beginning. This journey's magic will echo in my life forever. South Africa's memories form a vibrant tapestry. Johannesburg's energy, Bo-Kaap's colors, Table Mountain's majesty. The wild, a lion's roar, an elephant's gaze, sunrise over the savannah. Moments of awe and grace. The coast, salty air, crashing waves, tranquil forests. Each place adding a layer of beauty and peace. These memories are more than images, they're feelings. Adventure, wonder, and the joy of simple moments. The journey ends, but the tapestry of memories remains, a lasting source of inspiration. What lingers most is the spirit of the Rainbow Nation, resilient, hopeful, and striving for unity. I witnessed both the shadows of the past and the daily efforts toward reconciliation and progress. The concept of Ubuntu, shared humanity, was alive in every act of kindness and every story of forgiveness. South Africa's journey is a beacon of hope, proving that even deep wounds can heal through unity and compassion. The echoes of the Rainbow Nation will challenge and inspire me for the rest of my life. The greatest gift of my journey was human connection. The people who turned a trip into a life-changing experience. From shared meals to stories of struggle and hope, these moments broke down barriers and revealed our shared humanity. Acts of kindness, big and small, reaffirmed my faith in people and the power of Ubuntu. These connections taught me to listen, to be open, and to seek out the individual behind every label. The journey's most precious treasure is the enduring gift of connection, a lesson I'll carry always. It is impossible to undertake a journey of this magnitude and not be changed by it. South Africa worked its way into my very being, fundamentally altering my perspective on the world and my place within it. The vastness of the landscapes, from the endless Karoo Plains to the immense Kruger National Park, had a way of putting my own life and concerns into perspective. Standing under the vast African sky, surrounded by such ancient and powerful nature, I felt my own ego shrink. My day-to-day worries seemed insignificant in the face of such grandeur, a humbling and incredibly liberating feeling. The journey also recalibrated my understanding of wealth and happiness. I met people who had very few material possessions, but who were rich in ways that truly matter. They had strong family bonds, deep community ties, and a vibrant spiritual life. Their joy was not dependent on what they owned, but on their relationships and their connection to their culture. This was a powerful lesson for me, coming from a consumer-driven society. It was a reminder that true wealth lies in our experiences, our connections, and our sense of purpose, not in the accumulation of things. This shift in perspective is a profound gift. My understanding of resilience has also been completely transformed. I witnessed a nation that has endured unimaginable trauma and is still in the process of healing. Yet I found not despair, but an incredible strength, a capacity for joy, and an unwavering hope for the future. This resilience, this ability to find light in the darkness, has inspired me to face my own challenges with greater courage and grace. It taught me that setbacks are not the end of the story, but are often the catalysts for growth and the birthplaces of unexpected blessings, as I learned when my car broke down or when a storm trapped me in the mountains. Ultimately, this journey has made my world feel both bigger and smaller at the same time. It feels bigger because I am now aware of the incredible diversity and beauty that exists in this corner of the globe. My mental map of the world is now filled with the vivid colors, sounds, and smells of South Africa. Yet, it also feels smaller because I now feel a personal connection to this place and its people. They are no longer strangers in a faraway land, they are part of my story. This dual expansion and contraction of my world is the hallmark of a truly transformative journey. I am not the same person who left home, and for that, I am eternally grateful. As my story comes to an end, I hope it has done more than just entertain you. I hope it has planted a small seed of curiosity in your own heart. I hope it has ignited a desire to see the world for yourself, to step out of your comfort zone, and to embark on your own endless journey. Your adventure does not have to be a grand expedition to a faraway continent. It can be a trip to a neighboring town you have never visited, a conversation with a stranger from a different background, or a walk in a local park you have never explored. Adventure is a mindset, not a destination. It is about choosing curiosity over comfort. It is about saying yes to new experiences, even when they seem a little daunting. It is about being open to the lessons that the world wants to teach you. Travel has a unique way of waking us up, of shaking us out of our routines and forcing us to see with fresh eyes. It challenges our assumptions, broadens our horizons, and connects us to our shared humanity. It is one of the most powerful forms of education there is, teaching us not just about the world, but about ourselves. So I encourage you to listen for your own call to adventure. Perhaps there is a place that has always whispered to you, a culture that has always fascinated you, or a skill you have always wanted to learn. Do not wait for the perfect time, because the perfect time may never come. Start small, read a book, watch a documentary, plan a weekend trip, take that first small step, and you will find that the road will rise up to meet you. The journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single step, and the hardest part is often just deciding to take it. Trust that you are more capable and resilient than you think you are. The world is a vast and wonderful book, and those who do not travel read only one page. I invite you to turn the page. I invite you to discover the beauty, the kindness, and the wonder that awaits you. Embrace the unknown, find beauty in imperfection, and open your heart to the connections that are waiting to be made. Your own endless journey is out there. All you have to do is answer the call. I promise you, it will be one of the most rewarding things you will ever do. Go find your South Africa. My own journey of sharing this story is now complete. I have tried my best to capture the sights, sounds, and feelings of my time in this incredible country. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for traveling along with me, for listening to my reflections, and for being a part of this adventure. It has been a joy and a privilege to share my experiences with you. I hope you have felt the warmth of the African sun on your face, and the rhythm of its vibrant heart beating in time with your own. This has been a journey I will never forget, and I'm so grateful to have had you along for the ride. The conversation, however, does not have to end here. A journey is made richer when it is shared, and I would love to hear from you. What part of this story resonated with you the most? Have you ever been to South Africa? And if so, what were your experiences? What is the one place in the world that is calling to you? Sharing our stories is how we connect with one another and how we inspire each other to explore this beautiful world. Your comments and your own stories are an important part of continuing this journey together as a community of fellow travel lovers. If you have enjoyed this journey and would like to see more stories like this from around the world, I would be so grateful for your support. Please take a moment to like this video, as it helps others who share our passion for travel to discover it. If you know someone who dreams of adventure or has a love for South Africa, please share this story with them. Sharing is a wonderful way to spread the inspiration and to keep the spirit of travel alive in all of us. Your support helps this channel to grow and allows me to create more content for you to enjoy. And finally, if you have not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. By subscribing, you will not miss out on any future adventures. You will be the first to know when a new journey begins, and you will become part of a wonderful community of people who believe in the transformative power of travel. Thank you once again for your time and your attention. It has meant the world to me. Until our paths cross again on the next adventure, travel safely, stay curious, and keep your heart open to the wonders of the world.